The time is now 5:30. The date is February the 15th, 2022. We will call to order the city council meeting for the city of Statesboro. We will have our invocation and pledge of allegiance by Councilmember Paulette Shades.
Everyone bow if you so desire. Lord, my prayer today is that you would give us wisdom to make wise decisions on the behalf of the city of Statesboro. And not only that, God, I ask that you would prosper the city, prosper the residents that live in the city. And wherever we lack the wisdom, wherever we lack the courage, I ask that you would fill that with wisdom and with courage. In your name, Jesus, I pray, and I thank you for doing it. Everyone stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move down to agenda item 3, public comments. Lee, are there any public comments?
No one has signed up, Mayor.
All right, thank you. We'll move down to agenda, it's not time. We'll move down to agenda item 4, consideration of a motion to approve the consent agenda, approval of the minutes for the January the 27th work session, the February 1st council minutes, and executive session minutes. A part of the consent agenda is also a consideration of a motion to surplus and dispose of a public utilities vehicle in accordance with city purchasing policy. Is there a motion to pass agenda item 4A and 4B?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, let it show that agenda item 4 has passed. We'll move down to agenda item 5, consideration of a motion to approve the downtown master plan as amended for the city of Statesboro. I know we had good discussion on this last time. Mr. Penny, if there's no further update outside of the corrections per council's request, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a second. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, let it show that agenda item 5 has passed. We move down to agenda item 6, consideration of a motion to approve a memorandum of understanding between the city of Statesboro and Whitesville Community Resource and Development Organization Incorporated, setting out terms for conveyance of real property, commonly known as the Whitesville Community Park, from WRCDO in city in order for city to maintain real property as a park. Mr. Penny.
Mayor, members of the council, the members of the Whitesville Community Resource and Development Organization are interested in conveying this property to the city of Statesboro. The property would be maintained as a park. The city would agree to improve the properties. We would work in conjunction with the residents of that neighborhood to improve the park. The citizens actually had a meeting on Saturday evening, and they all agreed that the park would be known as the Whitesville Community Park. They would also recognize and honor those that were instrumental in the originally establishing the park, and they would memorialize their names in the park in some fashion. So today, Mayor and members of the council, we do recommend the approval of the agreement with the Whitesville Community Resource and Development Organization for the conveyance of the property to the city of Statesboro.
All right, thank you. Any discussion by council?
City Attorney, would the MOU need to be reflected of the meeting from Saturday, excuse me?
I don't believe so, Councilman Boyd, and we have it set out in this MOU that we would consult with them on the naming of the park, and it's my understanding that they did come up with a name for the park that the city would not object to. So I believe that the MOU as presented would be sufficient for this conveyance.
Any further discussion by council?
So it was a meeting of that group, the same that we have that had the meeting and came up with the name?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. Any further discussion by council? Seeing that there is none, Councilman Boyd, would you like to make the motion?
A motion to approve, please.
All right, is that a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, let's move down to agenda item 7, public hearing and consideration of a motion to approve application for alcohol license in accordance with the city of Statesboro alcohol ordinances, section 6-13A. 7A is New Statesboro Investment doing DBA Sparklers, 3348 Northside Drive West, Statesboro, Georgia 30458. License type package sales, beer and wine, and Sunday sales. 7B is Phenomenal Memories, 6 Carver Street, Statesboro, GA 30458. License type event venue. Is there a motion to open the public hearing? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, planning and zoning, Kathy?
No issues.
Okay, and that's for both 7A and 7B?
Correct.
All right, we're gonna go to fire inspection, Chief Graham?
No issues.
Thank you. We'll move over to Chief Broadhead.
No issues, sir.
All right, we'll move over to city attorney.
No issues on either applicant.
Okay, all right. Is there anyone here to speak for the request of 7A? Anyone to speak for the request of 7B? Seeing that there is none, is there anyone here to speak against the request of 7A and or 7B? Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's open it up for council discussion. Any discussion on behalf of council for items 7A and or 7B? Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll move down to agenda item 8, public hearing and consideration of a motion to approve application 522-01-05. Mary Beth Brown requests a variance from Article 15, Section 1508 of the Statesboro zoning ordinance in order to place a roof sign on the building located at 239 South Main Street. Item 8B is application 522-01-02. Mary Beth Brown requests a variance from Article 15, Section 1509, Table 5 of the Statesboro zoning ordinance in order to place a sign exceeding the allowed square footage for a building sign at 239 South Main Street. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Kathy, if you will give us an overview.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I'll be talking about both variance applications in this presentation. The applicant requests a variance from Article 15, Section 1508, and Article 15, Section 1509, Table 5, in order to place a roof sign of approximately 169 square feet at 239 South Main Street. Currently, the location is the newly opened Dolan's Barbecue. Specifically, the applicant is requesting that a roof sign be placed on the building that exceeds the allowed 100 square foot maximum size. In addition, roof signs are prohibited unless being located on the facing of a mansard roof that does not project above the peak of the roof. So with that, you see the property on South Main Street outlined in red. Future land use map shows this to be commercial redevelopment area number 1. The current zoning shows this to be in the highway-oriented commercial zoning district. The subject property is on the top left. The property to the north is on the bottom right. Property to the south is on the top left, and the property to the east, which shows the gas station, is on the bottom right. This is the proposed sign for Dolan's. And the next slide shows it lit. following slide shows the proposed location of it on top of the roof. At the regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Commission on February 1st, 2022, the Commission recommended approval of both variances with staff conditions by a 4-0 vote. Staff, however, recommends denial of V22-01-01 and V22-01-02 due to the lack of consistency with the intent of the zoning ordinance. If this petition is approved by the mayor and city council, it should be subject to the applicant's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. 1, approval of this variance does not grant the right to place the sign on this building. Signage must be properly reviewed and approved by the city first. That is my presentation, Mr. Mayor.
Right, thank you. Is there anyone here to speak for the request?
Or BQ.
Hey there, I'm Jana Phillips with Whitfield Signs, and just speaking to the sign that we proposed for Mary Beth and for Dolan's, one of the main reasons that we proposed the location for the sign on top of the roof is because there is nowhere on the property to do a monument. There is a small island area in the parking lot that will potentially be taken up by the, by extending the porch, which is in the plans for the restaurant in the next 2 to 3 years. And then there's also the likelihood that the, the Blue Mile expansion and the utility expansion that's going on right now could also affect the setbacks and such that are needed for a monument sign at that location. Other than that, there's nowhere really aside from the parking lot, which you have been taking up parking to put the sign. So that is why we have proposed it on the roof. As far as the size goes, with the way that the sign is going on the roof, it has to be set back, because right now you have the porch that overhangs on the front. The sign needs to sit on the structural roof. It needs to have the structural integrity of the roof to hold it. So it sits back, therefore we've made it larger so that you can increase visibility from the road. So those are our 2 biggest points. I can answer any questions that anyone might have as far as the construction of the sign and such, but those are our 2 biggest concerns and why we have proposed it where we have.
All right, thank you. And if there's any questions, we'll do that during council discussion. All right, thank you. Is there anyone here to speak against the request? Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, any council discussion?
Do you agree with, planning and zoning's recommendations on, their preferences? Can you repeat those to Ms. Field?
Yes.
I'm sure you've already discussed it with them, correct?
Yeah, yes, this is always sent out ahead to
Okay.
the applicant, yes. It says that if the petition is approved by the mayor and city council, it should be subject to the applicant's agreement to the following enumerated condition. 1, approval of this variance does not grant the right to place the sign on this building. Signage must be properly reviewed and approved first by the city.
Thank you.
Meaning that y'all would approve for the placement, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
like it is. Like it is.
Right, yeah.
Thank you.
Any further discussion by council?
Kathy, I have a question for you. In my experience, the sign ordinance typically has been waived for like the size of signs on a building. You got a particularly large flat area for this tiny little footprint. Or sometimes the monument sign, especially if there's some kind of a elevation problem with the road or something along those lines.
Right.
Is this a substantial deviation as it's putting something on the roof?
Well, yes,
I'm just
we don't
curious what
really,
that might imply for the rest of the street.
yes, the concern is that we would set a precedent where the sign ordinance does not allow any roof signs at all within the city. And I really think that there really aren't any roof signs around, but this would encourage more applications for roof signs, and that would be a concern of ours, is setting the precedent.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question. Didn't we have a moratorium on sign variances until, because we're in the process of looking at that now?
We do have a moratorium in place that covers pole signs only.
What signs on it?
Pole.
Pole signs.
Pole
Okay,
signs.
so that's only.
I have a question. So, cause I've enrolled by that particular building and I, know the space constraints that they have. Where will they put a sign if it's not on top of the
We
building?
don't have anywhere to put a sign, there is nowhere.
I'm asking
Oh, I'm sorry.
Kathy.
Yeah.
Where would they put a sign?
Well, I did walk the site as well, and I thought that, to me, it's a design issue, and that there are places to put a sign. Now, it may be a small monument sign, it may have to be pushed up closer to the sidewalk, it could be a pole sign. There are other types of signs that can be used within the constraints of our sign ordinance that I think would be appropriate. And to me, it's just strictly a design issue of getting someone there to really look at that and keeping in mind that, yes, that they do want to pull out, as was explained to us, that they do want to pull out their outdoor seating area. So that would be taken into consideration. And we did walk around and we did take that into consideration, but I really felt that this was not a hardship, that there were places that a sign could be installed.
But
Any further discussion by council?
Mr. Mayor, I want to say I've heard wonderful things about the barbecue, and I'm sure everybody is happy to have a thriving business instead of the old McDonald's that has been there forever. So I'm supportive of the business in general, but I'm sympathetic to staff concerns. We don't want to set precedents to have rooftop buildings because it's aesthetically not what we're looking for. To me, it's kind of junky looking to have big signs up on top of roofs. So I sympathize with the challenges with finding a place to put it, but I think I empathize more with staff, that we don't want to set a precedent for having a bunch of signs up on top of buildings.
Yeah, I think this may be a space that we may want to look at placing a moratorium to give the staff the opportunity to kind of, and not in this case, but moving forward, we might want to put a moratorium, give the staff the opportunity to kind of look at some stuff. And then kind of follow back up with us in regards to what would be some great next steps moving forward. Because, if a precedent's being set, you're right about that. But I think that if we can get staff to kind of give them the opportunity to get some space to work in as it relates to this matter, I think that puts us in a better position moving forward.
Are you proposing we table their request? I'm not sure what you're proposing.
What I'm saying is, I think we need to make a decision on this right here, because it did pass the planning commission, with staff recommendations. And then I think that moving forward, we might want to place a moratorium on it so that we can just take a look at this particular issue. Because we did put a moratorium on the freestanding side, but we didn't address this. Yeah. Any further discussion by council?
I mean, I know this is something that we have to, vote on, and I'm in agreement. I just don't see where else they could put a sign, and I understand, setting a precedent and, all of that. But where in the heck are they gonna put it? I asked that question.
Well, there's a location in the front of that building where a sign was erected. And I heard the comment that was made about the Blue Mile. When the creek on the Blue Mile and the Blue Mile is done, I don't believe the plan is to widen that street. Nowadays, what most people are doing, they're doing road dots where they're narrowing the streets, but we're not proposing that. And so we just went through, as long as they're not putting that sign in the right of way, there's a base right there on that sign. You see right there, there's a base right there. And so that sign could go up. And it would just be a pole mounted sign and not sitting on top of the roof.
But can I speak to that?
Yeah.
So-
Sorry. Yeah.
So what is the problem with the sign being on the roof? Where does the problem come? I'm trying to figure out, where is the problem with the sign being on the roof?
We just don't allow it anywhere.
It's not allowed, it's not allowed in our ordinance.
Because we don't have a sign ordinance? An
Well,
update?
we don't have an updated sign ordinance, and so again, as I said to you when we were talking about that triplex billboard, council and working with our ordinance, we need to have time, and I'm not proposing, again, I'm not proposing that council will need to make a decision on this, but we need to decide if this is what we want for our city. And if the council decides that rooftop signs are okay, then that's fine. But working with the staff and working with stakeholders, we would have a chance to decide that that is what will be acceptable in Statesboro. Then the other part of it is that in the future, with an updated sign ordinance and a subdivision ordinance, you wouldn't have all these variances coming to the council because it would be in accordance with the ordinance. And so right now, they're not allowed, and so we are establishing that precedence. It makes it sort of hard if someone else comes along and wants to put a rooftop sign. But again, that will be a decision, but there's a location that a sign could be placed on that property.
Okay. All right, so council, what are your thoughts?
Well, I already told you my thoughts. I mean,
Okay.
well, yeah.
Is there, well, let me ask this question.
Can I
I got
Okay,
you.
I'll-
I got you. I see you. Don't fall out your chair.
I know.
Yeah, I see you. Got an American hat on there. I see you. Yeah, that's why I skip over this, might fall out the window. All right, and so with that, let us do this right here. What we're gonna do is, allow council to, any other questions that you guys have? No? John, Sheriff?
Well, the point about it might be if something changes with the Blue Mile, and we might have to change it if we put it out there where there's a space for it.
Mhm.
Well, then, and it sounds like there's not gonna be, but even if there were, at that point, you could come back, and there would be a demonstrable hardship, so that we could reconsider. But at this point, I'm not seeing the hardship. There is a place for the sign, and we just don't allow rooftop signs right now. And so, I'm not in favor of granting the variance.
Okay, any further discussion by council?
Well, my thought is that if we do allow this, which I don't necessarily have a problem with the rooftop sign per se. However, it will set a precedent, and we have a lot more flat roof buildings up and down South Main.
Mhm.
So if, with the revitalization that we're doing, and the architectural design standards that we're putting in place for code enforcement and the zoning ordinances, perhaps, even if we allow this down the road, perhaps what we need to do is put it in the ordinance, so that way if we're gonna allow it, we allow it for everybody, but if we're not gonna allow it, because I will say, Mayor, if we allow this now, you open the door for everyone, well, Dolan's did it, so, and you don't wanna put it in a situation where we're giving them special preference over everyone else. We should either, hey, let's say this is an aesthetic for the Blue Mile, or let's say that it's not, but let's pick one or the other.
Okay, are we in a space to make that decision now, council?
I'm good with it.
Okay, you good with,
I'm good with the sign.
you good with the sign? All right, and so let me ask this right here, because Councilman Boyd did make a great point in regards to, setting a precedent. And if we do it today, the conversation will be where Dolan's did it. But again, it's a lot of things that's occurring within the community that happened before, but when ordinances change, then people have to abide by the new ordinances. And currently, there is a space where the sign could go, but the planning commission did say that they approved it. Was it a 4-0 vote? A 4-0 vote. In my opinion, what I would suggest is that you place a moratorium after this right here, and then give the staff the opportunity to really look and see what that sign ordinance looks like moving forward. That's what my thought process would be. And let me ask this question: is the council prepared to vote yea or nay on this?
I'm prepared to vote
Not really, point of order, it's not really appropriate to pull this.
No, no, well, I'm trying to determine whether or not we're gonna table this or not, so that's a point of privilege by the chair. And so do we feel that this needs to be tabled, or are we prepared to vote?
If I'm outnumbered on being tabled,
Yeah.
I'll go another 2 weeks.
So Councilwoman Mack, let me ask you,
I'm okay to table, I mean, I do like the sign, and I would love to see signs like this in Statesboro, but I don't think it's fair to let Dolan's do it, and then we're like, hold up, nobody else can do it. So if we can look at it and make the change, then let's make the change, because we all are in agreement that we like this.
okay.
So, do you guys have a sign already right
We
now?
have 0
Yeah, they have
signs.
0 sign,
I
yeah.
think we all know where you're at, though.
Yeah,
I
we know.
I know where you are.
I know you
Yeah.
guys do,
Yeah.
but we have people every day that come and say, well, we weren't sure if you guys were open yet or not,
Yeah.
because you don't have a sign.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right,
I
and-
get it.
Yeah, and we're gonna utilize a point of, another point of privilege and allow you to come forward. And you didn't fall out your chair.
I didn't. I was close to that. So, my name is Mary Beth Brown. I'm the owner of Dolan's, obviously. Sorry, I got mask hung up. So, yes, it's not just about the fact that the road could expand due to Blue Mile, but if we are expanding the porch, that takes away that full area that you were speaking about, that we could put a sign there. So if we expand our porch out, which is our intention in the next 2 years, then we will tear down a $7,000 to $10,000 monument sign. That financially does not make sense. That's my first point. Second point is we don't have any other signage anywhere. We don't have signage on the side of it because we attempted to do that, and that was nixed by planning and zoning because it was against some sign codage. And then anywhere else, we would be taking up valuable parking, which is always an issue, you know, here, especially on this, in this area of Statesboro. And then our other thing is, while I know this would be setting a precedent, like, isn't this why we have the variance, you know, processes, so that it has to be reviewed by you guys, and approved? So, while this is setting a precedent and may cause problems in the future, you always have the the option to say, no, this is not the aesthetic that we're going towards. Like, you know, I don't think this is only adding to the aesthetic of our building, and going with the vibe that we're trying to protrude, and what I'm hoping is, you know, what downtown Statesboro is going to become. Is you want it to be a place that this younger crowd brings, and the money that comes with it. So we're just trying to create that look with this.
All right, thank you, Ms. Brown.
Thank you.
All right, and so before I ask for a vote, I will add my 2 cents to it. I'm actually fine with the sign. I think it brings a different kind of flavor to our downtown area, and it's gonna bring energy. With that being said, I do understand that we do need to take a look at those ordinances. And I think that it's absolutely fine, because we put moratoriums on other things and studied them, and we realized that we went through a different path. So I'm absolutely fine with approving this, and then placing a moratorium so that staff will have the opportunity to take a look at it and say exactly what direction we need to go. But the decision is at council's pleasure. And so we will ask for a vote. Is there a motion to approve, or is there a motion to not approve, or is there a motion to table?
Motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, all those opposed?
Nay.
All right. Any abstentions? Okay. All right, with that being said, congratulations. All right, we'll move on down to the next, to the next item. We'll move down to, and those got that barbecue cooking, I don't lost some pages. We'll move down to agenda item 9, public hearing consideration of a motion to approve application 522-01-03. Rail Development Corporation requests a variance from Article 14, Section 1402 of the Statesboro zoning ordinance in order to apply for a PUD, planning unit development at 1 University Place. 9B is application RZ 22-01-04. Rail Development Corporation requests a zoning map amendment in order to establish a PUD at 1 University Place. Is there a motion to open the public hearing? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor. As I did for the previous case, I will handle both variance requests as one. The applicant requests a variance from Article 14, Section 1402, in order to request a zoning map amendment for approval of a PUD planned unit development at 1 University Place, which is also commonly referred to as University Plaza. The subject site consists of 6 separate parcels, all sharing a mostly vacant shopping strip on approximately 3.07 acres. As per Article 14, Section 1402, a PUD may only be requested on a lot exceeding 10 acres, hence the need for the variance. Within the PUD, the applicant is seeking to develop a 7-story, 608-bed student housing complex with both an adjacent parking deck and lower story commercial use. General setbacks, building heights, and a parking ratio of 0.7 spaces per bed are outlined in the general plan. So you can see the outline of the parcel at the corner of Chandler and Georgia Avenue. There are 6 parcels, so they would all have to be combined into one large parcel. The future land use map shows this site to be located in the University District. The zoning map shows this as a PUD. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, there was a rezoning that came before the council to rezone the site into a PUD, which never developed. So this is a rezoning for a new PUD. The subject site is located in both of these pictures. And again, on the top left, that is another angle of the subject site. The bottom right photo shows the adjacent property. Now, there are several slides here that I'm going to, with your permission, ask the developer to come up to explain the nuances of each of these slides. And he is here prepared to do that. So we have that slide, and keep going. And so we get to here. And so this does show the proposed development. And this is the intersection of Chandler Road and Georgia Avenue. And then the next slide shows the proposal along Georgia Avenue. The staff recommends approval of V22-02-03 and RZ 22-01-04. If this petition is approved by the mayor and city council, it should be subject to the applicant's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. 1, granting of the zoning map amendment does not grant the right to develop on the property. All construction must be reviewed and approved by the city and state fire marshal. 2, any additional off-site parking granted to the development must be provided in writing to the city. If such parking is allowed, the amount of parking spaces included with the parking deck may be diminished accordingly. 3, final building elevations must maintain consistency with the concept design as submitted with this PUD, with the exception of the parking deck as per condition 2 above. 4, a combination plat must be submitted for this group of parcels prior to the approval of any building or site permit. At the regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Commission on February 1st, 2022, the Commission recommended approval of the variance and zoning map amendment with staff condition by a 4-0 vote. And let me just take a minute and explain conditions 2 and 3, and that is that the applicant is, when we zone to a PUD, we're zoning to a site plan. But we wanted to build a little flexibility in here because the applicant is currently negotiating with Georgia Southern, who has a parking lot next door on their property, so that he could take advantage of some underutilized on-site parking. And if that application is mutually approved by the 2 parties, then the need for the parking deck in terms of its height can come down. And so we wanted to build a little flexibility in there to allow that to happen, which makes it, from an economic point of view, makes it more economically feasible to help the developer with this project. So that's why those conditions are written as they are. And so
Okay,
that's
are
my
you yielding-
presentation.
Okay, are you yielding any of your time to the developer?
Yes,
Or you wanna-
I would like to yield to the developer. Graham Rail is here.
Okay.
And Graham, if you'd like to come up.
Okay.
And you can talk about those slides
Okay,
with a little
sure.
more detail. I thought you could explain them a little more with all the nuances in them. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Thank you for having me. I'm Graham Rail. Our company is Rail Development Corporation. We're based in Dallas, Texas, but we do multifamily student housing nationwide. We saw this site, which is obviously an underutilized piece of property right now and surrounded by the university. So we looked at the highest and best use, and you know, retail is challenging today. So the combination of primarily housing, residential, we do have a little bit of commercial, and I'll walk you through that. But we didn't want to over-retail it, which is also challenging for parking. What we did, we saw the projects that were approved before we got here, and we really wanted to do something that was more befitting the area. One of the big moves that we did, as you can see in the site plan, there'll be two buildings. The building, which is shown in yellow there, will be our main, and will be the main entrance to the property. And that will be where our lobby is. When we created this entrance off the street, we wanted to bring the traffic off the street, thinking about, you know, people coming to visit, the deliveries, and really have an experience like a hospitality project, where it really has a sense of arrival. And on the corner, which is the corner that's closest to Chandler and on Georgia Avenue, shown in red, is that we will have like a cafe, coffee shop within our lobby. Again, just picture coming into almost like a hotel, where we've done it before. We had fresh baked goods, and it really created a lovely ambiance. So you could come in and pick up a croissant and go to the right to the cafe, to the left into the lobby. We've designed a parking structure that connects to that building, and there's a bridge that spans. If you go to the next slide, you can see that it connects on the upper floors. That bridge will connect, so you can park in that parking structure and then go across to the second building there. Traffic would come in off of Georgia and come through that main artery and into the parking deck. And then, as Ms. Fields mentioned, we've had advanced discussions with the university to alleviate some of the need for that much structured parking on that site, to have a combination of the structured parking, but potentially 2 or 3 levels rather than the 6 levels. And then we would have surface parking adjacent. And that would also allow for that traffic to come through as well, to connect from Georgia Avenue into the adjacent parking. We would make it feel like one project, not an adjacent lot, but really plan it so that it feels very much connected. On top of our parking structure, whether it's 3 stories or 2 or 4 or 5, we'll put an amenities deck on top of that structure, which would be something new for this market. And that's really the essence of the project. If you go to the next slide with the renderings. One more down. The other aspect of the project that we really tried to capture was the elegance that we see in this region. We've looked at buildings both here and in Savannah, and we've kind of tried to capture that architecture, which is a little bit of a combination of arches and, leans more traditional. I use the word elegant. I think that's kind of something that we wanted to capture. And here again, to bring the activity off of the main street. It's not shown entirely on this rendering, but where you see those umbrellas, that will be where our cafe is there. We'd really like to have some, really nice indoor-outdoor environment there, outdoor seating. Where we have our cafe, again, it's not fully shown there, but we'll have, wide open windows so that you really get a sense for the indoors when you're outside. The next slide. If you zoom in, that'll show you a little bit more of the sense of arrival there in the lobby. And then coming into the parking garage through that main center artery there. mix of materials, a little bit of a, pop of color to give it a little bit of charm, but essentially classic, traditional architecture. Thank you.
I know. Absolutely. All right.
Happy to answer any questions, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. We'll move down. Is there anyone here to speak for the request? Is there anyone here to speak against? Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to close the hearing? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, any discussion by council?
How many bedrooms will this hold? And I'm sorry, it's fuzzy on you. I can't see it on my,
As it's designed now, there's 608, so somewhere in that 600 range.
and like a 3 or 4 bedroom would have 3 or 4 bathrooms also?
Correct.
So this is directed at college students?
It is. Now, one thing that we are doing, and this is part of the discussions we had with the university, is that there's a lot more studio and efficient, studio 1 bedroom and 2 bedrooms in this than a typical place. We really, and we've done this before in other markets, that we've seen more graduate student, young professional visiting professors.
What came up last time was, we approved a project very similar to this
Yeah.
years ago. The big problem was, they didn't have enough parking space.
Yeah.
For all the people that were gonna live there, and kind of problems that would solve.
Yeah.
As it's drawn right now, with, what do you got? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers of parking garage, is that enough for everyone in the building?
It's 0.7 to, the ratio is 0.7 to 1, 0.7 spaces to bed.
Is that?
The project before, I don't,
But I
think
remember.
Yeah, it was less.
Yes.
It was less.
But 0.7 is within our,
Yes, yeah, that is a standard that we checked on. We feel comfortable with that ratio.
okay, but if you can agree with something with Georgia Southern and let them use their parking,
Yeah,
then you may make some more apartments and cut down
No,
on the parking.
we're going to design to that ratio. So whatever we do with Georgia Southern will either be at that ratio or more, but certainly not less.
Great, thank you.
I was interested to hear that there's gonna be some studio and some 1 bedroom, not just the rent a bedroom to each college
That's
kid.
right.
But what's the, percentage of that, how many of which?
You're asking me off the top of my head, but it's probably about 25%.
Okay. Sounds good, thank you.
Any further discussion by council? Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Vince, that's a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll move down to agenda item 10, consideration of a motion to approve resolution 2022-03, a resolution reclassifying the position of senior planner in the planning department and to a planning and housing administrator. Mr. Penn.
Mayor and members of the council, earlier today, you had a presentation during a work session in reference to the housing rehabilitation program. And in order to be able to do that program, someone has to oversee and work with the contractor. And so we have made an assignment to our senior planner to handle the housing program as well. And so based upon that, we had the job evaluated, and we are recommending that position be reclassified to planning and housing administrator. We would still have the person would be able to handle planning items, but also would be our go-to person as it relates to the housing program, that they will work with Insight and work with property owners as well in the city. So our recommendation, we recommend to you that you reclassify the senior planner position to the planning and housing administrator, which is before you.
Okay. Any discussion by council?
the way I understand it, the same staff is taking on, the same person is taking on a bigger job, and so we're upgrading the job so that person can do it and be compensated to it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any further discussion by council? Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, let it show that the item is passed. We'll move down to agenda item 11. Consideration of a motion to approve resolution 2022-04. A resolution approving an application for the 2022 State Farm Neighborhood Assistance Grant. Mr. Payne.
Yes, Mayor, members of the council, we're asking your authorization to be able to apply for that 2022 State Farm Neighborhood Assistance Grant. Now, this, I know, Ms. Chambers, this is one of her pet projects. But this would, be $25,000 that would be available to assist with some urban gardening. I'm not sure what that is, but we're asking your authorization to be able to submit the application to State Farm.
Okay. Any discussion by council?
I think this is a great idea.
Yeah, all right. All right, seeing that there's no discussion by council, Ms. Shavers, would you like to make a motion? Councilwoman Shavers?
I make a motion to approve this
All right, is there a second?
$25,000 grant.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, we'll move down to the next agenda item, which is a consideration of a motion to approve resolution 2022-05. A resolution requesting approval to apply for the assistance to firefighters, fire prevention and safety grant for the city of Statesboro. Mr. King.
Mayor, members of council, we're asking approval to allow us to apply for this $25,000 grant. And this is to provide some arson investigation training. There is a $2,500 match, 10% match. We recommend approval.
All right, any discussion by council? Seeing that there's none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, let it show that the agenda item is passed. We'll move down to agenda item 13. Consideration of a motion to award a contract to Everside Health for on-site employee health clinic in the amount of $286,123. Mr. King.
Mayor, members of the council, at the work session in January, we had a presentation from Everside Health, and we went through an RFQ process to select the firm to operate our on-site employee health clinic. And we recommend to you Everside Health. As you remember, one of the main components of the Everside, right now, our employees have a clinic, and the clinic is available to them 2 days a week. This would increase that clinic to 3 days a week. There are some other additional benefits. There'll be an app that will be available to our employees. We hope some additional reporting would also be available to us. And this is available to our employees and their dependents. Most employees and most organizations see this as a benefit. Everside also, when we look around the state, currently they operate the clinic in Augusta and a couple of other cities in the state of Georgia. We would recommend awarding this contract to Everside Health in the amount of $286,123.
All right, thank you, Mr. Penny. Any discussion by council?
I have a few questions. Sorry to the citizens, especially the ones that live in my district. My number one focus is usually the employees of the city of Statesboro. It says on here that all vendors were interviewed by 2 interview teams. Who's on the interview teams?
I'm gonna call my handy dandy human resource.
Come on down, Demetrius.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Let's see would you like for me to indicate by department?
Sure.
Okay.
I just know there were 2 interview teams.
You
Okay.
want them by names or? We have representatives from several departments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from them. I'd actually like to hear their feedback. I haven't seen that anywhere in here. I'd like to hear what they say, because they're the ones who will be using it.
Sure. Okay, Fire Department, Bobby Duggar, Police Department, Carl Bryan, Planning and Development, Charles Brown, Central Services, Darren Prather, Public Utilities, Estella Robertson, Finance, Karen Larson, Public Works and Engineering, Kiera Ahmed, City Clerk, Leah Harding. And the second team was Jason Bull, Cindy West, and myself.
Okay. What did the first team, what were their feedback? What was their feedback?
Sure, I don't have their information in front of me, but I believe from my recollection, the committee had positive things to say about the existing vendor as well as the recommended vendor. They were clearly, from their perspective, the two that were finalists who should move forward or recommend. I'm sorry.
Okay. Before I vote on this, I'd like to see their feedback.
Okay.
That would be okay. I hate to put it off for 2 weeks, but I'll vote against it if I can't see some feedback.
Okay. All right, any further discussion by council? All right, council, okay, go ahead, Sharon.
I was just gonna say I'm okay with tabling if Mr. Riggs isn't comfortable voting now.
I'd like everybody to see, this is for the employees, and this is their health. This is number one. I'm not looking to save money here, I'm looking to keep the employees healthy. So I wanna hear what they say. So if I get that information before the next meeting, as a matter of fact, for everyone up here, if that would be okay.
And we don't have to wait till the next meeting, we can send it out to you in advance.
I'll take it. Please, thank you, yes.
All right, so is there a motion to table?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
And that's till March
Okay. So that's the,
Yeah.
okay. All right, any opposed? Seeing that is none, it's tabled.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, we'll move down to the next agenda item, consideration of a motion to award a contract to Freeze and Nichols Incorporated to perform engineering design and permitting services in the amount of $2,650,450 for the Creek on the Blue Mile project. Mr. Penny.
Mayor and members of the council, earlier this evening, we had a presentation from Eric Neese from Freeze and Nichols in reference to the design work that would be needed to move the Creek on the Blue Mile project forward. And as I shared with you, the $2.6 million would be paid for out of the, it's not 5.5 million now, but out of the grant dollars that were awarded by the governor a couple of years ago. And so we have this before you this evening. The original plan for this contract was to bring it to you at the January council meeting. However, without having the benefit of the economic impact analysis, we held this until we could have that economic impact study presented to you. And so that's why we put it on this agenda for your consideration tonight. It is certainly the council's prerogative. We do recommend award of the bid of this approval of the design contract, whether it happens tonight or whether it happens in 2 weeks. But we do recommend it to the city council.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Penny. Any discussion by council?
Personally, we got a lot of information today that would be inappropriate for us to decide on, since we just got it 3 hours ago, plus we've got a number of other items that were on today's agenda. I honestly would like to have another work session on this, because there's some concerns in both of these documents. My motion will be to table it.
Okay, any further discussion by council?
I'll go along with that so we can make a better informed decision.
Okay,
Wait for the next 2 weeks.
all right,
Now, I'm sorry, we'll let y'all vote,
okay.
but you typically don't have a work session at the first council meeting anymore.
Yeah, the next work session would be the second meeting of next month. So we weren't gonna do that because we had, the retreat. Yeah. So, do we still wanna table it?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to table it, and I'm open to having an extra call meeting that we give notice on, that we can hear whoever's available and wants to know more.
Absolutely. This is very important.
All right, is there a motion to table?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? All right, seeing that there is none, we'll move on down to agenda item 15.
Excuse me, are we tabling until 3/1 or to a date certain?
I
Let's-
think we should put a date on it, so.
Do we wanna do 3/1? We don't have a work session for next month.
If we're gonna ask that, we have to
But
find
wait,
out.
you adding in another meeting? Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do that.
All right, so what do we wanna do?
I mean, we can use the council meeting in a little different format at the first meeting.
Kind of do a post-meeting quick work session or something and then vote on it on the 15th, something like that.
That's fine. We were trying to, again, in the month of March, we were trying to have a work session. But if we could do that.
Just that
on
one
the
item.
morning- The morning of the
Yeah,
first.
just that one
Yeah,
item,
do
just
that.
one, and we can do it after the meeting, would be all right.
You wanna do it after the meeting?
Not before.
Okay. So,
That's a morning meeting, right?
Not unless you want to be.
so if we do it after the meeting, then we won't be able to vote on it until the first
Yeah,
meeting
you
in
wouldn't be
April.
able to, you'd be able to vote on it the second meeting, Mayor, in March.
Right.
Okay, so we try to do it on the first meeting in April? Is that what we're doing?
No.
No, we're trying to do.
Not April, but March, I'm
March.
sorry.
We would do the work, we would
Work
have the
session on the
work
first.
session after the
The
meeting
meeting.
on the first.
And then vote on the
Okay.
15th.
And then vote on the 15th. But I also need to know now, as far as questions are concerned, to have the economic, the
Would you like us to submit you some questions?
yes, because
Okay.
I need to have them prepared, and if it's gonna be questions on the proposal, then I also need to have, representatives from, Freeze and Nichols available to answer questions.
Okay, and so we need to make an amendment to the aforementioned past motion. Is there a motion to amend the motion, to allow for a?
Well, I can rescind my motion and make
Okay.
another motion.
All right, do you want to rescind?
Well, technically, we already voted and we can do a reconsider, but I'll just make a second motion to, have the work session on the first with, and then vote on the 15th.
Okay, so we have an amended motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll move down to agenda item 15, second reading, in consideration of a motion to approve ordinance 2022-01, an ordinance amending the Statesboro Code of Ordinances, Chapter 6, Section 6-23, to regulate the licensure and operation of package stores. Mr. Payne.
We're going to defer to Mr.
Yeah.
City Attorney.
Mayor and Council, before y'all today is the second reading of section 623 with the revisions from last meeting in there. I'm just going to do a brief overview, same way we did at the conclusion of the work session just a little while ago. On the proximity requirements, it's 100 yards distance is required from the church building, state-run, state or municipal run, county run, treatment center, or housing authority property. Within 200 yards of any school building, educational building, or school grounds, within 1,000 yards of an existing package store. In the first reading, there is no distance requirement with regards to college campuses. However, during work session, directive was made that changed to 100 yards from college campuses as defined in 3321B of the annotated code of Georgia. That's the first part. A is the proximity requirements. B is hours of operation. The allowed hours of operation would be 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday and Saturday. Package stores would be allowed to sell, display, and keep in stock those items allowed under the Georgia Administrative Code, except for lottery tickets and provision of check cashing services, which shall be expressly not permitted. We would have the open container policy that is in place for all the other establishments, be in place for liquor stores as well. E has building requirements in that. We have direct ingress and egress from the package store, just so we wouldn't have any sort of those hybrid bar package store locations with one employee going back and forth. And furthermore, council also put in a mandate of 3,000 square feet of combined showroom and storage space. That was brought up, but no clear directive was made during the work session. The zoning districts, it would be allowed in commercial retail, central business, and highway-oriented commercial. G is the use of the excise tax proceeds. Once again, it would be the stated policy goal of the city that a minimum of 50% of proceeds collected under Section 621 from package stores be allocated to social services contracts that would need to be entered into under the normal procedure with qualified 501c3 nonprofits. And I know we talked about possibly expanding that to other organizations as well as, and to provide beneficial youth and other social services to the city of Statesboro. Application process, talk about that reservation, that location reservation, that process is set out in there. The employment regulations set out in subsection I, those would be the tips training, the alcohol security permits, et cetera. Just basically package stores would have to have the same employment provisions that all our other licensees are already subjected to under our section 610. Furthermore, we also require proof of insurance for our other licensees, and that same sort of insurance policy requirements are set out in subsection J of this.
All right, thank you. Any discussion by council?
I'd like to offer a motion. I'm not in favor of it moving forward the way it is. I'd like to offer a motion that we amend our ordinance to make it 100 yards from college property, 2,200 square foot store minimum, and 1,000 yards between stores.
Okay. Any further discussion from council on the motion?
We discussed a lot today. I kinda like what she said, but, I wanna think about it some more.
Okay.
I'll drag this on for at least 6 months. I know it.
All right, any
That's a
further-
joke.
Yeah, any further discussion by council?
Mr. Mayor, could Kane clarify for us, if we vote on this, is this the first reading, and then next time is the first it could pass? Or do we still have to wait the first reading next time?
Unless y'all by a 5-0 vote to waive the formalities under this and say that this change is not substantive, the rewording would need to come back for a first reading at a subsequent meeting.
So if we agree on this now, we still have first reading next time and a month from now before it can be approved and go into effect.
As long as there was a
Two meetings of identical ordinance.
Right.
That's it. So if we change it today, then we gotta vote again in 2 weeks. So that way this one and the one in 2 weeks are exactly the same, or substantially the same. Correct.
And so
If we vote 5-0.
No, we can waive the rules and pass the ordinance right now. But I don't think anybody wants to do that.
All right, so we've got the proximity situation from the university that we want to change, which is 100 yards instead of the recommended 200. Council, how do we feel about that? Is council comfortable with 100 yards?
I'm comfortable with 100 yards.
Okay. All right, and so, the next change that we had, there was a 3,000 square foot minimum, far as square footage. That is, you guys wanna drop that down to 2,200 square feet now? Okay, all right, this council.
I did not, I wanted to keep it at 3,000 square feet only because it would help with that limit. I thought that's what we went up through all of this for, kind of cut back on the limits of the stores, but hey, that's just where I stand. If you don't like it, just outvote me.
So, all right, so we wanna drop that from And let me ask council this while we're in discussion. Do we want the 2,200 square feet? Or do we wanna say 0? Or do we wanna go back to 3,000?
I'm for a minimum, 22 sounds good to me.
I like 0.
You like 0?
I do.
Okay. All right, and so, Councilwoman Barr?
I think we need concerned about having none is 35 people open a business and shut down in 6 months. Is that a problem?
There aren't even 35 liquor stores in Savannah. We are not going to have 30 or 40 liquor stores in Statesboro. That is just not realistic in any stretch of the imagination. We're gonna have a half a dozen at most. We have a very limited place to put these. It's mostly on the highways. If we wanna, carve out a little bit for the university to be specific, but other than that, I mean, we're not gonna have there's not 30 liquor stores in Chatham County. There's no way we're gonna have 30 liquor stores here.
Gotcha.
Not to mention the fact that if you live in Brooklyn, or in Iron Gate, or in Neville's, or in Portal, you live closer to a liquor store than if there was a liquor store right in the middle of Statesboro. There's a liquor store on every road outside of town. So if you live on the outskirts of the county, you live closer to a liquor store than you would if you lived in the city.
You know, I kinda like what the councilman said. He said it's not gonna be more than, a half a dozen, so that's 6. I say put a cap at 6 and then move everything back, to state regulation except for the 100 yards for, the campus situation. I think that makes it
Sure,
easier.
I'd be happy to second your motion, though I wouldn't like to modify it with, just reducing we'll leave the 1,000, leave the 100, and reduce the square footage. Just don't put the square footage, because again, we have plenty of, places in downtown that if you limit it to 2,200 square feet, that's still pretty good space.
So you wanna leave that or keep it?
Take out, my amendment is, reduce the square footage to, 0. Or just not put a square footage in there, leave the 100 yards for the university, because I think that takes care of the Lanier and Chandler area of our campus. And then we leave the 1,000 square foot. It seems like the folks, last time we brought up 1,000, that seemed like a reasonable number for everybody.
All right, is there a second to his motion?
So you're saying 1,000 yards between stores, but no minimum square footage?
Correct.
And so the motion is put it at 6, 2,200 square feet.
No, the motion is not to put it at 6.
Oh, that's how I understood.
No, that's
You
not
said
what I
half a
said.
dozen.
That's not what I said at all.
You said a half a dozen, so
No, that's not what I said in my motion.
Mayor, we had a chance to
Please.
Yeah.
We have a chance.
Not yet.
That was good.
Yeah.
No, that's actually not good.
Absolutely. So with that being said, I've been extremely transparent with this. And I said this from the beginning, there needs to be a cap on this. And I am comfortable with the number 6. And I think that it allows us, to have a strong market, as well as making sure that, things don't get out of hand, even though, Councilman Boyum is sure we won't get 30, 40 stores, and I agree with that, but I would much rather grow at a much measured pace versus having to make difficult decisions down the line. And so council, what your mayor would suggest is put it at 6 and then give it incentives for locally, individuals that's local, female, or minority that's local here. Give them incentives to get into this business, and then allow us the opportunity to keep the 1,000, keep the 100 yards from campus. That's what I would suggest.
Mr. Mayor, point of order, there's a motion and a second on the floor.
There was no second, there was a motion. We were
I
still in
seconded
discussion.
her motion, and then I put in a secondary motion to take out, yes. So there is a motion on the floor, you made it, I seconded it, and then I made it an amendment motion,
Okay.
which would then reduce that down to, or just take that portion out.
Okay, and then what
And we
do
can vote on that motion and not take it out, and then vote on Sherry's motion.
Okay, and so you made a motion,
I made an amendment.
yeah, but you seconded hers.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, but we weren't finished with discussion.
That's right, it
Yeah,
happens
so
after.
that
a
motion was out of order.
No, actually, it's not. Motions are made before discussion, Mayor.
No, yeah, her motion was made, then we had a motion where then we were discussing between her motion.
Correct.
Okay. And so with that being said, council, any further discussion? Seeing it? Okay, all right. Sheriff, do you mind repeating your motion?
So I'm getting bogged down in Robert's rules because I'm in favor of the way I said it, or I can offer another compromise, but I'm not. Okay, so your amendment was just to do away with the minimum square footage.
That's it.
To change it to 100 yards from college property.
No.
And 1,000 yards between stores, but no square foot minimum.
Okay.
I seconded your
Point of
motion
correction,
and
Councilman.
amended,
Took away the square foot motion.
and amended, yes,
Okay,
offered up an amendment to your motion, which was to change that from 2,200 to 0. The amendment motion can be voted on separately from your motion. It should be voted on first.
Okay.
so I'm okay with doing away with the square foot minimum, but if we do away with that, I am still wanting to limit a little bit. I'm not relying on y'all's calculations that there won't be more than 6. I'm thinking maybe we need to go back to 1,200 between stores. That we need to, that is a way that other municipalities have helped to lower the number.
If I could say something, I
Absolutely.
don't, my ear hurts, so I'm gonna say that first. I don't really, I wasn't in favor of putting a number on it, because I didn't want small business owner, minority, female minority business, local business owners to be left out. So that's why I was really against putting that number on it. But if we could put that wording in there, then I'm open to putting a number on it. I don't agree with 6. I think it should be more than 6. But I don't know a number. I don't want 30, 15. I don't really know what the number is. But my thought process is 6 is low.
Okay.
Does anybody have a number? 10. I'll throw that number out there. Or is anyone comfortable with putting the number on? So, yeah, I see no, so, okay. That's fine, that was my thought. That's the only reason why I did not feel comfortable with putting the numbers, because I did not want small business owners and other people to be left out. But if we want to talk about other ways to do it, I'm open to that too.
Okay, all right, so Sherry, do you want your motion to stand?
Yes, if others are okay with it, I'm okay with, 100 yards from the college, no minimum square footage, and 1,000 yards between stores.
Second.
That's what you changed it to, yeah.
Okay. All right, so, we have a motion. Chair has not asked for a second as of yet, because we still want to have a little bit more discussion. Now, the purpose of us putting the 1,000 yards in, was to effectively limit the number of stores. Okay? Do we think that 1,000 is an accurate number? Between stores?
I don't know, why don't we vote on it?
Yeah. All right. Okay, Council.
Call the question.
All right, with that being said, do we have a second?
We do, yes.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Mayor,
All those in favor?
I have another amendment, because we haven't discussed the youth council portion, and there's a number of people here that wanted to speak, and we have not opened it up to let them speak. I think we should allow them to speak, since they.
Yeah, I've already spoken to them, and I know exactly where they're gonna be.
Well,
speaking.
we don't, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah,
All due
okay,
respect.
Yeah, no respect. With that being said, is there a motion to approve?
I'm sorry, I have a motion to hear the
You
folks
can't-
that came here.
That comes from the chair, Councilman, you know that.
What?
You know it comes from the chair.
What comes from the chair?
With that being said, is.
I'm allowed to
we have
make an amendment motion.
In a second, all those in favor?
I don't know who seconded it, I'm sorry.
Councilman Boyd.
He second what?
Yes,
He
and
second
Sharon
Sherry's
said
amendment.
second.
Okay.
He second Sherry's
Did you
amendment.
second it?
Yeah, he did.
Yes, and this is my
All
right,
all
would
those
like
in-
to make an
all those in
amendment
favor?
to the current motion, which
All
I
right.
have the right to do.
Right, is the
And
council
in point of
refusing to
order,
take a
Mr.
vote?
Mayor, I have a right
Is the
to add
council
an
refusing
amendment.
to take a vote?
Kane, can you please help me out here, please?
I do believe amendments can be made to the motion, but the motion has to be voted on.
Yes, it does, but he can't gavel us through. Hey, let's just do
It was,
this.
it was a.
An amendment motion.
She made the amendment, you made
I
the
did not make an
second.
amendment motion. She made a motion. I
No,
made a
you
second.
second,
I'm
that's what I just
amending
said.
that
And so,
motion.
and so now we have something that needs to be voted on. Does the council want to vote on it, or is this gonna be a no vote situation? All right,
I have asked that we
okay, so.
open it
do
up
we
for
wanna
the
record
folks
this
that
as
were
a no
here.
vote? Cause I know, John, are you comfortable voting on this at this time? All right, it's a no vote.
No, wait a minute.
Okay, well, we got to do something. Either we're gonna pass it, we're gonna table it, we got to do something.
Kane, help us out here.
We can hear
What
the
are we
amendment,
doing?
we can hear the proposed amendment before we vote, can't we, Mr. Mayor?
Or is there people that want to speak? You're saying there's people here that want to speak?
Yes, that's it.
I would like to.
There are a number of people here that speak. One person talked to the mayor, but none of us have heard any of that conversation or what any
We've
of these
been
folks
listening
have
to this
been here.
conversation for 2 months. And at this point, council has to make a decision.
Mr. Mayor, it's inappropriate for you to bully us to a vote.
No,
I've
stop
asked
it,
that
stop
the
it,
public
stop it. Come on, man, let's have some respect and decorum in here.
I agree.
All right, yeah, come on, let's stop doing that, man. It's embarrassing.
You're right.
So with that being said, Sherry, do you want to rescind your motion?
Well,
Okay, Phil, do you want to continue the second?
do I want to rescind it, do I want to take it back? No.
I have
Okay, so-
I am posing an amendment to the,
Okay, and.
which I am allowed to do, which Kane just said I could do.
Yeah, after it's voted.
No, it's not after, an amendment does not
Phil,
happen after
don't
the
raise your
vote.
voice, don't raise your voice.
Well, I
Just talk
must
normal.
have to, because
Okay.
you keep saying the same thing over and over again.
Come on, y'all. Let's
I know.
get this together now.
Yeah, this is embarrassing.
Tap this.
Kane, if you will, help us with the order.
So what we have now is we have a motion on the floor for 100 yards to college campus. The 1,000 is already in there, Councilwoman Barr. Sorry, I didn't say that in the first review. So currently, the motion on the floor is 100 yards to college campus revision and take out the minimum square footage issue in subsection E. And that's where we are now. If Councilman Boyer makes an amendment to a motion he made, then we will, but we have to, we
Which is
need
the-
votes on that.
Which is simply
Say
to
that
hear.
again, Kane.
We just need votes on whether to move forward, in which way we need to move forward. I need the procedure on whether it's an amendment. I'm not a parliamentarian. I'm just gonna be very clear on that. I'm not the guy with the powdered wig on C-SPAN. But, I mean, I do know the decision has to be made here. is what the
Yeah, that's
bottom
right,
line is.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, so.
So can we vote and then have a public hearing and hear people who want to talk? I mean, we could vote whether to move
You
it
know,
forward.
let's do this right
Let's
here.
hear it.
Let's have you rescind it, and then with anybody that wants to talk, we'll open it up to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, do you want to rescind your motion?
There's nothing to rescind, Sherry. We have a motion on the floor. We have asked an amendment motion that we allow the public to be heard before we made our decision. If someone
So-
seconds that motion, we can
So
vote
you,
on it and
an
move forward.
amendment motion, you
Yeah.
made an amendment motion to the motion.
Correct.
To allow people from the floor to talk?
Correct.
That's out of order.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
If
Come
we
on,
vote,
man.
we can do anything
Sherry,
we vote
rescind
on.
it. Let's, Sherry, please rescind it so we can open it up to the floor.
I'd like to rescind my motion so we can hear from the folks in the room.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Sherry.
You're welcome.
Anybody from the floor that would like to come up? Go ahead, Bob.
Hey, all right.
We getting somewhere now, Bubba.
Whew, thank goodness. My name's Bubba Hunt.
Yeah.
I've been a small business owner in Statesboro for 31 years, and I've been a real estate agent for the last 7. And I just want to kind of point out a few things to you as you decide to make these decisions about the distance from Georgia Southern and 1,000 yards. Number one, the Board of Regents owns almost all the property from South Main Street, starting at the corner of Nats Landing, all the way back down to the bypass. They don't own all of it, but they own portions of it. You go from the bypass over to 67, they pretty much own everything on the left-hand side of the road, which means you can't put nothing across the street either. And they own across the street. Then you go back up 67 Fair Road, they have Board of Regents, I mean, pretty much owns property scattered throughout with churches and all the way back up to the shopping centers there. And so it pretty much takes out Fair Road, the bypass, and US 301 South for you to enable anyone to open a package store. If you take 1,000 yards and you start at the corner of the bypass at Franklin Chevrolet, 1,000 yards spreads from there all the way to Statesboro High School. From Statesboro High School, next it goes all the way to TC's gun store. Then from TC's gun store, it goes all the way around the corner to the old former Boyd's Barbecue. So that's 3 locations of liquor stores in Bullock County. 3. So there's your 1,000 yards. As a crow flies around that 1,000 yards of locations, you're not gonna have 5 stores in Statesboro. If you hit one at the corner of Main Street and Highway 80 and go 1,000 yards in, you're probably close to East Main and West Main. There's nowhere to put them. So if you take Georgia Southern out of this, I would suggest and recommend that you do look at this at another angle and go back to where the housing centers are and maybe the school, where the main, location of education is, but take out the Board of Regents property owned, because you're gonna limit, I mean, I know you wanna limit it, we don't wanna limit a corner, but you really are limiting this. I mean, you're gonna go out, 80 West, going out towards the bypass that way. But most of the property, once you get into the city, outside the city limits, on the bypass especially, is wet anyhow. So when you start going towards, Locos back around, all that on that left-hand side is useless property, really. It's just gonna make it very difficult for there to be 5, 6, 7 stores located in Statesboro anyway. So just take that into consideration and understand 1,000 yards is a pretty good distance. And also taking away Fair Road, I mean, what happens, and I'm just asking, Two Guys is, that property they're located on is within 100 yards or right there of Georgia Southern's campus, of the soccer fields.
We took that out. I don't know if you were here during the work session, but we did take it out. We said residential and academics. So we took all of that stuff out.
Well, excuse me?
It's okay.
No, but I'm just making a point that it's gonna limit it.
That was.
I don't think
We
we
need to take it out.
can. We talked about it, but I don't think we can take it out. I think it's anything Georgia Southern
No.
owns, but the 100 yards, include, 100 yards will take out storefront property, but like the back of the stuff, of the whole, Old Roses, where Ollie's is, the Coconut Tide, that is outside the 100 yards.
Well, I guess it's gonna depend on how you clarify it, but, I mean, again, I just suggest that you really consider about it being in front of dormitories and college business, centers where they're learning, instead of just making it the whole Board of Regents property.
I never
Hey,
heard of the
didn't
whole
we-
Board of Regents property. I thought we were doing residential or academic.
Right, ain't it?
We talked about it, but there was a directive to take it out, and so so we can do that now, if that's what the council chooses to do. Anybody else from the floor? Come on, Scott.
I want to make sure it's the right time.
Yeah.
My name is Scott Marchbanks. I'm the current chair of the Boys and Girls Club of Bullock County. I want to speak with regard to the tax allocation to youth development programs you guys have proposed. First, I'd like to say thank you very much for taking that approach. I appreciate that. I'm joined by several of our board members. You guys would just kind of wave, say hello. And our director, Mike Jones, is here as well. I found it appropriate to give you just a very brief background of the past 20 years of the Boys and Girls Club since we've been in existence here in Bullitt County. Over those 20 years, there have been 1,266,000 sets of feet that have crossed our thresholds. I want you to consider that 3 of the 5 greatest risk factors for incarceration in later adolescence and adulthood are coming from a single parent home, having parents who didn't graduate high school, and living in poverty. 92% of our kids live below the poverty level. 78% of our kids live in a single parent home, and only 16% of our kids' parents have graduated from high school. With that said, of those 1,266,000 sets of feet that have crossed our threshold in the past 20 years, 99% of those kids have graduated high school. 98%, or those kids are 98% less likely to be incarcerated. However, those kids also have a math GPA that is 1.5 grade levels above their peers. Our kids have an English and Language Arts GPA 1.2 grade levels above their peers. And we have a lower school absentee rate than their peers. Those 1,266,000 sets of feet that have crossed our threshold represent kids in our community that are among the most vulnerable. They need everyday heroes. I believe that you are their everyday heroes. You have the opportunity to be their heroes, and allocating the money from the tax from the liquor stores to a program like ours. We are an established 501c3 organization, and I would also like to point out that your return on investment, statistically, for every $1 that we receive from a municipality or other donations, we are able to leverage an additional $3 from other funding sources. We can turn that money into something that's positive. One other thing that I'd like to point out is that we have recently articulated a partnership with Ogeechee Technical College to provide training programs to older youth in grades 6 through 10. We have a commitment that they will be able to transition seamlessly into Ogeechee Technical College free of charge upon high school graduation. We need your help to make that happen because we need the funding to put that program in place. I would also like to point out that we are the only Boys and Girls Club in the state of Georgia that employs certified teachers to bridge academic gaps. We're the only Boys and Girls Club in the state of Georgia that provides social and emotional development programs to bridge social and emotional gaps, especially now in light of the social and emotional gaps and mental health issues that have been brought on by COVID. However, unfortunately, in terms of municipality support, that's you guys, we receive less than any other Boys and Girls Club in the state of Georgia. I would like to see that change. I understand that there are concerns that some of you may have about having a memorandum of understanding. Well, we understand that we have a need, and we will articulate whatever it is you want to help us continue to provide a 20-year level of success that is unmatched in this area. There will be another 1,266,000 sets of feet to cross our threshold, but we can't do it by ourselves, and we need you to help us do that. As a private citizen who owns a home in District 3 and who owns a business and a property in District 2, I need to say to you that it concerns me greatly that the funding would not be directed immediately towards a 501c3 organization that's already established. I'm committing to work, as I spoke with you today, Mayor, with the Youth Development Council in any way that you need us to. But the Youth Development Council isn't a physical agent. It's not a 501c3 organization. It's not a funding source. It doesn't provide direct services. And I think that's an issue that we need to talk about, or that you guys need to seriously consider, because I think that opens the doors for a lot of issues that we don't necessarily need. I'm not saying that there isn't another 501c3 that provides youth development services, but to my knowledge in this town, there is not. To the degree that we do, with the success rate that we do, with the needs that we have, the programs we're putting in place. There will be another 1,266,000 set of people that depend on you to help us. Thank you. Oh, I have these, if I can maybe hand them to you.
Yes.
It articulates a lot of the data that I just shared. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer that, but please keep that in mind when you think about funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your service. All right, anybody else? Right here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. I'm Chris Gohagan. I live at 1211 Shasta Court in the county. I'm an owner of 2 business operations in the city at 12 Seaball Street, 1209 Merchants Way. I've listened to a lot of discussion on this ordinance. I assure you I'm eager to have a finalized ordinance to get to work on. I did want to point out a couple of things that maybe require some further consideration. 2 points as to the proximity requirements to kind of finish up on the point that council was making with Mr. Hunt. The limits of campus absolutely should not be considered in the measurements with respect to these proximity limits. And I want to draw your attention to the language in the ordinance, which refers to any church building, alcohol treatment center, housing authority property, school building, educational building. School grounds is included in the ordinance. If you look at legislative history, going back at the state level, the idea was you didn't want grammar school students looking across the fence at a liquor store. A grammar school grounds is not at all comparable to a university campus. So when you're considering your final ordinance with respect to how you define the limits of a college campus, it absolutely should be limited to physical locations. The second issue on there is how you're going to measure 200 yards, 100 yards, 1,000 yards. It needs to be door to door. There's no reference in the ordinance to boundary lines other than school grounds. We're not concerned with people walking into parking lots. We are concerned with people walking into liquor store buildings. And then with respect to the application process, one thing we cannot do with this final ordinance is create an environment where our business owners are in feud with one another to try to get in the front door on day one. We got to have some protocol in place as to how we're going to receive and issue those reservations. So I'd ask you to consider those finer details.
Thank you.
What'd you say your name was?
I'm Chris Gohagan. I'm an attorney with Tully Rushing.
Okay.
Anybody else? Come on.
Thank you, Council. Darren Van Tassel, business owner here in Statesboro, developer too. First of all, I wanted to applaud the really eloquent words from Scott and the Boys and Girls Club. I'm a founding board member of that organization, so I know how important that is. You heard from both Chris and Bubba tonight, and I really wanted to underscore, I think, some wisdom that's coming from both of them, both in terms of how we think about campuses, in terms of buildings, as opposed to border and lines, especially when it comes to regions lines. I think that's going to be really, really important. And the 1,000-yard piece, I know it sounds like a nice round number, and that may well be the number, and it may make a lot of sense, but I think there are some realities as you draw those sorts of things. And if you mix that in with a limitation on numbers, I think you may be arriving at a conclusion that you're not intending to. But anyway, I really wanted to underscore the thoughts from others. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. All right, so we turn it back over to council. Councilwoman Barr, you rescinded a motion.
I have a question for our legal assistant. So are we able to define the proximity, whether it's door to door or property line, or is that state saying that?
It's the most direct route of travel. That's already covered in our order, or in our ordinance, how we measure. And it is, yeah, and it's the same as the state. We obviously don't want a discrepancy there. It's direct line of travel from door to door, yeah. Except for the college campus, which is, as it is, the reason it is different is because the state says it's different. The state says it's different in 3321. It doesn't say college building. We do have the option to regulate distance as to college campuses in whichever way y'all deem most appropriate. And if it is to, if you in whichever way y'all do it.
So we could come back and say what some folks thought we did last time about saying it's only from teaching buildings, not from dorms or vice versa. I mean, what was it?
It was we were placing 200 yards, based upon residential areas and academic areas. That was my understanding.
Yeah, I mean, that's feasible because you're still going to be, that would still be under the 200 yards from property line to door. So if you did 200, it is allowed, bottom line. We'll just leave it at that. Y'all can do whatever regulation y'all want to when it comes to college campus, just tell us what y'all want, we'll put it out. I mean, it's not a hard question, it's, yes, y'all can do it in whichever way y'all decide on. Y'all have local rule on that. You just can't make it more than 200 yards from a college campus. That's the only caveat.
So what was y'all's proposal about that?
I said 100, Councilwoman Shaver says 200.
I mean, I'm fine with the 100, but, you know, I do want to place in there, you know, residential and academic. I don't think any liquor store should be, you know, close to those areas, so those parameters do need to be added.
Well, I mean, should we just say any building, and you don't really want it across the street from the rack, you don't really want it across the street from the stadium, you don't really want it across the street from the dorms, you know, so should we just say from building, didn't you say we could change it from campus to building?
College campus or any building contained, you know, owned by a college campus.
So we can switch it to just building as opposed to campus? Would that be satisfying everybody?
I'm still okay with the dorms and academic building.
So that way there could be on all along Fair Road, because those are soccer fields. As long as it's more than 100 yards from the buildings at the soccer field concession.
I mean,
And the only reason I said building is because when I say academic, is the football stadium an academic building? I mean, they do classes, they do weight training in there. So arguably, the convocation center is ultimately gonna be a half sports facility, half academic. So maybe just from an ease of, and I don't know, maybe I'll pose it back out to the folks, if 100 yards from a building would be enough to satisfy the issues that you guys have in a couple of areas that are near campus.
Door to door.
Right.
Does that satisfy your concerns?
I'm gonna vote against it anyway. Girls keep on bringing up too much stuff, and I have to go think about it. So if you're gonna put a motion out right now, I'm gonna vote against it.
but so what can we do to make you not vote against it?
I mean, what does it matter?
It
What does it matter
does,
if
yeah.
I vote against it? I mean, if you're for it, if all y'all are for it.
It's whatever, we gonna have to vote the way we gonna vote.
Do you want me to try and change your mind? You got about 45 minutes?
No, let me vote.
I mean, I appreciate you asking. And I could go down the line, but, I just have to think about it more. Which means I will not be voting for it today. I will have to vote against it.
Okay.
And then, you know, we've still got 2 weeks from now, it'll be the second reading. I may have changed my mind by then.
Oh, Lord. Jesus.
I have to think on these things that y'all have said before. Every time we have a meeting, every time I get a phone call, which is a lot.
So 100 yards from college-owned educational residential buildings.
I'm not sure how King gets the wording.
I think building is gonna be the easiest because of the issues brought up about the dual use of so many, it's just way too much. It can be from a building or from the property line, but I just think.
An academic building or
residential
building?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
And put that word in there, just like that.
Academic
Building.
building,
Or
Just
residential.
building,
academic.
just building.
Well, then what about like the big center or that's a college building?
Yep, really.
Yeah, so then that's kind
But
of,
it's also academic. They have classes in it. That's what I'm saying, they have classes in Hanover, they've got classes in the football stadium. Every building on campus is arguably an academic building, outside of the residential.
So college-owned buildings is anything that's not an open field, basically.
Okay.
So they just let Fair Road have a little more leeway. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm ready to vote.
Make a motion.
I don't even know what I'm voting on, but I'm just.
Exactly, that's why I have to vote against it.
Do I have to vote for you?
I wish y'all could.
Well, I'll be happy to throw one out there and see if it sticks.
Okay.
Hang on one second. Motion to approve ordinance 2022-01 as written with the following adjustments. Section A, there shall be a 100-yard distance requirement with regard to college buildings. Section B will remain the same.
Which is?
The hours of operation.
Thanks.
C is the sale of other projects, that'll remain the same. Open container, D is fine. E is the building requirements, no square footage requirement. And then the only other one to discuss would be what we're gonna do with the money, the 50%.
Proximity between stores.
I didn't change that in section A, I only changed the college.
So we did 1,000. That's where we are now, 1,000.
Right.
I'm not with that. You're not, I would go back to the one with the 2,200 square foot and none.
I'm sorry, what, Paulette?
The first, ordinance that was indicated, I prefer that one than this one, which would be
2,200 square feet.
the 100 yards building, the 2,200 square feet, and what was the last one?
1,000 yards.
1,000 yards between. That's where I'm at, and that's where I'm sticking from now on. I'm sticking with that. So
And
if we
leave
have
in-
another meeting, this is gonna be the same thing.
I'm gonna remind you of that.
And I'm not changing it, because I'm not changing no more. That's it.
So you want to leave in the provision, the goal statement about 50% of it going to social services? Because that's what Mr. Boyd was talking about taking out. But you're saying leave that in. I'm
As
okay with that.
we decide, because that was indicated, when we got to that point, we could decide where that went specifically.
I'll second that motion, Paulette, if that's what you're doing. Or we got one on the floor to deal with for yours, Bill, right?
Yeah, I mean, we can not discuss the 50% if that's gonna be a serious discussion we have about where that money is gonna go and what we're gonna use it for. I mean, honestly, the 50% number is kind of arbitrary. I mean, we really need to decide how much money we're gonna budget to it. So that being said, I mean, I'm okay with leaving that in. I still think from a downtown perspective and South Main and some of the other areas, that square footage requirement will force us to have bigger liquor stores. And I'm not sure that's necessarily the best thing. I think the 1,000 feet, and I think the university building, I think those will, between the two of those, I think that'll really restrict the number. Not to mention, we've only got it in those 3 zones, so.
I would second Phil's motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those not in favor? All those not in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. Shit, excuse me, I'm against that too. So we go back for another reading next go round?
We'll have a second reading. So just to be clear on this, it's proceeds stayed in.
Yes.
Yes.
And so the only revision really is, and what happened with the square footage, that's
They
just
took
gone in
that
its
out.
entirety.
Yeah.
Just to be very clear on everything. So it's as written, amendment to 100 yards between college campus building and any store. No minimum square footage on the buildings, and those will be the only revisions to this first reading. Is that correct?
Correct.
1,000 yards between stores.
Yep.
That's how it is.
All right, let's see what's next on the agenda. Other business from city council.
We've talked about a lot, Mr. Mayor, but I did want to put before council the possibility, now that we know that the college is offering incentives for people to get their booster shot. So do we want to think about using ARPA funds to do that at our clinic? Thank you for coming, folks. I'm asking for input from the mayor or other city council members about, do we want to consider asking staff to broaden, we're giving $50 incentives, thank yous to people who get their first or second vaccination. We are giving people their boosters when they come too, but they don't get any incentive. Do we want to do a $25 gift card as an incentive for boosters, like what they're doing at Georgia Southern, to encourage folks to come back and get their boosters?
I'm for it if we have the money.
We got ARPA money still, right, Mr. Kenny?
We do.
Does anybody see any problem with it?
It doesn't bother me, but I
How long
don't,
we gonna be doing it?
yeah.
Like, how long are we gonna keep running this program? That's my concern. I don't have a problem with doing it, but, like, really, realistically, how long are we gonna be doing it?
Are y'all asking me?
Yeah.
Until we say stop.
Yes.
Until you stop. We only have, probably have less than 60 cards left. And y'all didn't ask me my opinion, so I don't know if I should share it with you.
Sure.
Please do. To this point, we have not given people money for the booster shots. We still sit at about 40% of our population that have been fully vaccinated. We still need to get people the first and second shot. And we've had a number, the majority of the people that we are seeing are people with first and second shots. And the folks, it's not deterring people from getting their booster shots by us not giving them any incentive.
You're still giving the booster shot though, Dad?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. So we're giving booster shots
We're
already.
giving booster shots.
We're just not giving incentives.
I mean, at the last event, we had 66 people, and out of 66, we gave 50-some,
47.
whatever I sent out to you, but, so we had 19 people that got boosters and the other folks. And then the time before that, we had 75 people and 60 people were eligible for gift cards. So it's not stopping people from getting boosters by not giving. And in the case of Georgia Southern, they have given people credit for a card on their card. We do have to go out and they have to spend that money on campus. And in this case, we have to go purchase those cards. Like I said, we only have about less than 60 cards left. We would have to ask you for, and we do have another clinic on the 26th. And I wasn't gonna ask you to extend me beyond that, and then we'll look at and see if we want to continue, but it has not deterred people from not getting booster shots to this point.
Can you take some of those cards and give them to people who get a booster?
Yeah, we can, we just haven't. And we've had people, like I said, that have come through that have gotten boosters that have not been receiving cards. But it's up to y'all. You tell me to give them, we'll give out a card to everybody that comes through the door.
It don't matter to me.
I just wonder if it's an opportunity if folks might say, well, I've been meaning to get my booster, and so I'll go get it, and don't you wanna go with me and get yours? You know, I don't know if there would be a new avenue of
I think we should,
encouragement.
yeah, I think we should do one more big run where we incentivize people doing boosters and getting their shots, and then after that, then I think we should be done, but they can still come back and get shots. That's me.
So you're saying continue the clinics, but don't give them money after February?
Yeah, that's how I feel.
I'll do whatever y'all want. I still have about 3 or 4 more items there.
If we got the money for it, go for it. That's just how I feel. I'm not really opposed it or against it, but I'm like, how long we gonna run it?
Yeah, we
I
all.
mean, if I was gonna put the focus, we need to get the, as Charles said, we got 40%, 60% not vaccinated, 55 plus. And we gotta focus on the first timers. And there's so many opportunities to get a booster, and if they want one, come get one. It's not like we're not giving them out. But I think we need to keep our incentive on the most vulnerable, and those are people without vaccine.
Okay. Thanks for the feedback.
All right, city manager's comments.
Mayor, members of the council, I do want to just call your attention to, in your FYI packet, the proposal for community gardens. At the next council meeting, we'll probably ask you to vote on that proposal because there is a cost associated with it. I think it's probably about $25,000-$30,000. And so just want to call that to your attention. Again, next Tuesday, we're gonna have a State of the City address at 7 o'clock at Statesboro High School. Vaccination clinic is on February 26th, and from 8:30 to 12:30. And I do need your authorization for an emergency purchase for Davis Heating and Air Conditioning at our Public Works building. We have an issue and we have to replace the air handler and the duct work at that building. And because it is an emergency, we've gotten prices from 2 vendors, and we recommend to you Davis Heating and Air Conditioning for $61,380.43. I do need your authorization to expend those funds.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And I think that's it.
You in favor?
Okay.
You guys?
All right, any public comments? Seeing that there is none, do we need executive session? All right. Seeing that there's no need for executive session, we'll move on to agenda item 20, consideration of a motion to adjourn. Is there a motion? Second? All those in favor?
Who seconded? Me, second. She said aye, but she meant second.